From the corner of Bethany's eyes, she saw Randolph, Ramona, and Sean paled. Emma was the only one excited. "Ooh, I do love some good fluffy pancakes," she said.
I don't.
Randolph, Ramona, and Sean said together. "Pancakes, pancakes, pancakes!" Bethany heard someone cheered mentally and physically. She turned around and saw Rowan dancing with the foxes while cheering pancakes repeatedly. "Oh my gosh, where did these foxes come from?" Emma said, scooping snow up. "They're so cute." "They're ours," Bethany and Sebastian said at the same time. You don't mind us keeping them, right?" Bethany asked sheepishly. "What? Of course not," she said, scooping Red up too, and started dancing with them.
Oh my god, who is this woman? She smells awesome.
Red said, sniffing Emma, making her giggle. "Anyways, pancakes?" Bethany said, grinning when Randolph, Ramona, and Sean groaned. It was a peaceful night with the sky full of stars and nocturnal animals prancing through the woods, but that was destroyed when the animals scurried away, avoiding the blur that rushed past them. "Run. I have to run or they will catch me." A few minutes after the blur passed by, growls and howls sounded, pushing the blur to run even faster. The blur let out a relieved sigh when she saw she was reaching the exit of the woods, where lamppost lights shone. "City. People will help me there." But to the blur's dismay, it was like a ghost town, as it was already very late. There were no people, no cars, nothing. The blur cursed and ran when she heard the growling and howling behind her getting louder. "No time to think. Run first," someone said inside their head, and they started running again. They ran straight, then took a quick turn to the left into an alley. They thought they will finally outrun their chaser with all the twist and turn of the alley, but when she took a right turn, she ran into a wall. A dead end. "Damn you fucking wall, can't you see I'm being chased?" they shouted at the wall. Then they heard a chuckle.
Well, well, looks like this little pup has nowhere to run anymore,
a deep voice said, making them turn around and saw 3 men. They snarled at him. "I dare you to touch me, this isn't the woods. I'll scream and help will come," she growled, her dark brown eyes turning silver.
Whoa, scary,
he mocked and let out a cruel laugh.
Sorry to break your bubble, hun. No one will come to help you. Even if you scream, the place is deserted.
Don't call me that.
We'll call you whatever we want, whenever we want.
Ugly number 2 snarled.
Now, hand over the thing.
She snarled. What thing? Even if I have something, I'll never give it to you, mutts.
Jay, looks like this little bitch needs to learn some respect.
Ugly number 3 growled as he smirked. In an instant, ugly number 1 was already in front of her and slapped her harshly. She tried fighting back, but her arms were grabbed by the other 2. Then ugly number 1 started touching her in places where he shouldn't touch. Stop it! Stop it! She shouted and thrashed around in their grip. The men ignored her and laughed when tears started pouring down her face as ugly number 1 started kissing down her neck. She started to scream but was slapped again and big hands covered her mouth. Help! Somebody help! She prayed silently. Then a gunshot was heard. Ugly number 3 fell next to her, not moving. All of them were shocked. The remaining men jumped away and tried to hide in the shadows.
Who's there?
Ugly number 2 shouted. Your worst nightmare, she heard a girl said, and something flew past her. Ugly number 2 fell next to her, not moving too. Ugly number 1 pulled her up by the hair, grabbing her throat with his claws out. Thank him, she got a clearer view of her saviors. When she got a look at them, she gasped mentally. There stood a teenage boy and girl.
Move one more muscle and the girl dies,
Ugly number 1 said. Both of the teenagers held up their hands, which were closed.
Open your hands,
Ugly number 1 shouted. The teenager smirked. With a whoosh, ugly number 1's grip on her hair loosened and fell backward. When she looked at him, she almost gagged at the scene. There was a dagger through his throat, gun wound on his chest, a dagger and a gun wound on his head. When she looked back at the teenagers, they were already behind her. Both of them crouched down and looked at her. Hey, you all right? The girl asked, and she broke into tears. Thank you, she said between sobs.
It's okay. It's all right now. You're safe,
the boy said, which made her cry harder. Come on, let's get you to somewhere safe, the girl said, gently helping her up by her arm. Somewhere safe? Where? She asked, hard to trust the strangers.
Our pack,
the boy said, and both of their eyes turned indigo, then back to their original color. But one condition. You must not tell anyone that we just killed those men. Got it? The girl said. Lips sealed, she said, making a zipping gesture over her lips. Good, the girl said, smiling. Who are you? She can't help but ask. Bethany, the girl said. Sebastian. She gestured to the boy beside her. Bethany and Sebastian took a taxi to the pack house with the unknown girl. Bethany looked out the window and saw it was already nighttime. Bethany sighed. They had left before dusk. Well, it looks like they took their time with all the shopping and killing. The door flew open when they rang the bell, and Sebastian was crashed into a bone-crushing hug. Where were you? I was so worried about you, Ramona said, but stopped when she saw the girl. She growled when she caught a whiff of the girl's scent. Why do you have a rogue with you? Wait, she's not going to hurt anybody. We saved her when she was almost raped in a dark alley, Bethany explained. Ramona's eyes flashed with sympathy. Well, come in, and you'd better explain this to my brother. It's not every day a pack accepts a rogue that easily, Ramona said, still not trusting the newcomer. When they got in, it was Bethany's turn to be crushed with a bone-crushing hug.
Beth, I was so worried about you.
Randolph stopped when he saw the girl behind me.
Why is there a rogue here?
Randolph growled, looking at the girl with glowing blue eyes instead of the beautiful brown eyes. Bethany quickly put her hands on his chest, stopping him from pouncing on the girl's throat. She's innocent. We saved her from getting raped in a dark alley. Will you guys judge people after hearing their part of the story? Sheesh, Bethany said, frustrated. He sighed and looked at Bethany, eyes back to its original color.
All right, it's just that rogue cannot be trusted that easily,
he said, and Bethany kissed his cheek. Thank you, Bethany said, leaving a very shocked Randolph. Hello, Bethany snapped her fingers in front of his face. Earth to Randolph. He blinked his eyes and looked at Bethany while smiling from ear to ear. What? Bethany asked, confused.
You kissed me.
Bethany rolled her eyes. Which, by the way, was only on the cheeks.
Well, you never kissed me before.
Oh, so you want me to stop doing it? Bethany asked playfully.
No,
he said, snaking an arm around my waist and pulled her close to him.
Never stop,
he said with a grin.
Yo, lovebirds, back to business,
a voice shouted from the kitchen.
Coming, Alex,
Randolph shouted back. When they walked into the kitchen, Bethany saw Ramona sitting on Sebastian's lap and smirked. He saw the smirk and blushed. Bethany mentally laughed and shook her head. Beside Ramona and Sebastian, there was another 2 boys and a girl. Like he had read her mind, Randolph started introducing them.
Bethany, Sebastian, meet my Beta and Gamma, Alex and Henry, and Alex's mate Melody.
Sup, I'm Alex, the...
Annoying brat, Melody said. Alex gasped dramatically.
I'm deeply wounded,
he said, holding a hand to his heart. Melody rolled her eyes. Then she smiled warmly at Bethany. Hello, welcome to Pack, Bethany, Sebastian. Bethany and Sebastian smiled back at her with a thank you.
Welcome, Luna, Sebastian,
Alex and Henry said cheerfully. Anyways, tell us your story, Melody asked the girl. My name is Quinn Jackson, Quinn said. Randolph's eyes snapped to her.
Alpha Robert's daughter?
Quinn nodded sadly. You look sad, Ramona pointed out. That's because my father's dead. The wolves that knew Alpha Robert gasped.
What?
Alex asked. My parents and Pack was in ambush and murdered just a few hours ago from a rogue attack, before they found me, she said, pointing at Bethany and Sebastian. Why? Why did rogues suddenly attack your pack? I have no idea. I only know that before the attack, my father was paled and commanded me to run, she said. Then she fumbled with her clothes until she found what she was looking for. She pulled out an envelope. Before I ran, he gave me this, and asked to never open until I found somewhere safe. But after a few minutes, 3 of the rogues smelled me and chased after me. Quinn placed the envelope on the island. They wanted something from my pack. That's why they attacked, and I think this is it, she said as she glared at the envelope. Whatever's inside that envelope, it's very valuable to the rogues. Randolph went to grab the envelope, but was interrupted when James rushed in.
Alpha,
he said, out of breath.
What is it?
Randolph asked, worried.
Intruders,
James said, and the 3 highest-ranking wolves in the pack stood up. Intruders? Is it the rogues? Ramona asked, and Quinn tensed.
No.
James glanced at the Lloyd twins.
The Red Wolf King. He's here.
The 3 highest-ranking wolves went rigid. Randolph orders them to stay in the house as he, Alex, and Henry rushed out with James leading them. I'm going to check what's going on, Bethany said, standing up. But Alpha Randolph said not to step foot out of the house, Quinn said. Who said I was going out? Bethany smirked and pulled at the curtains, revealing a gigantic window with Randolph and the others just outside. I have this baby to help me. How did you know it was one-sided? Ramona asked, walking towards me. A magician never reveals his secrets, Bethany said with a grin. Ramona rolled her eyes with a smile. Bethany pushed open the window just enough to hear the outside.
How may we help you in this fine evening, King Grayson?
Randolph asked.
I'm here to find my mate,
A deep voice said, and Quinn sucked in a quick breath. What? Bethany mouthed to her. Nothing, she mouthed back, and they continued to listen.
How does finding your mate end up here?
Randolph asked.
I followed her scent and it led me here. Other than my mate scent, I smelled the scents that were imprinted in my memories.
King Grayson said. What? Bethany whispered and moved closer to the window.
Move, Beth, I can't hear.
Sebastian said, pushing Bethany. Stop pushing me, she yelled. Hey, knock it off, you guys, Quinn said, pushing too. Stop it, or you guys gonna... Ramona tried saying, but it was too late, and they fell out of the window. Fall out, Ramona finished, looking at the dog pile outside the window. Get off of me, Sebastian, you're heavy, Bethany exclaimed.
I can't if Quinn doesn't get off me first,
he shouted back. Hey, Quinn argued.
Ahem.
They heard someone cleared their throat, and they all looked at the voice. Hi, Randolph, Bethany said sheepishly.
You guys are in so much trouble,
Henry whispered. Bethany groaned and hit her head on the soft ground with a muffled thud. Then they heard a low growl. Bethany looked up and saw a guy with blonde hair like her and Sebastian, but with blue eyes.
King Grayson?
Randolph asked, but King Grayson ignored him and walked towards them. But he wasn't looking at either Bethany nor Sebastian. He was looking at Quinn.
Mate,
he growled, eyes turning indigo. Then Bethany can't bear it anymore. Sorry to ruin the moment, but get the hell off of me right now or I'll become a pancake myself. Do you know how heavy you guys are? She shouted at the top of her lungs. In an instant, the weight was gone. She rolled onto her back. Air, she shouted, and sucked in air greedily. Sebastian stretches out his hand. She grabbed it and he pulled her up. She heard a gasp and turned. She saw King Grayson looking at them with wide eyes.
Bethany? Sebastian?
He asked. Yeah, they said.
Wait, how did you know our names?
Sebastian asked with eyes narrowed.
Because I was there when you were named,
he said, eyes showing happiness with a hint of grief.
What? I'm your brother.